BXB. It's in the game!
Hey guys, it's me Ben, back again with yet another quick video review for you. This time I'm looking at, well, if you're looking at the screen, you've probably worked it out. This is Tekken 7 by Bandai Namco. Easy for me to say, and I'm probably horribly underqualified for this review because I have very little experience with the Tekken series of games. I can tell you, though, that this is the 9th Tekken game. This is a re-release of a game that came out in the arcades a year ago, and actually prior to that came out a year before that, before this updated version came out. So in many ways, this is already a 2-year-old game that's finally come out on the Xbox One and the PS4, and frankly, when you see the fighting engine, you will see why. This game looks like crap, and this game has the most bobbins story I've ever experienced in anything. It's just so quintessentially Japanese, so wrapped up in its own lore. It takes itself so painfully seriously that I guess there's a sort of level of endearing to it. But it just begs the question. I'm just sat here thinking to myself, why did this game come out 2 weeks after Injustice 2? This is a game that's already existed for 2 years, and yet they decided to release it 2 weeks apart from the other big fighting game of the year. It isn't like we get these fighting games every 5 minutes. We get them very occasionally, and I think because of people's resurgent interest in the fighting genre because of Injustice, this has seen some decent sales. However, this is the inferior product in every single way, from the story, to the interface, to the depth of the modes, to what's on offer, to the character design, to the way it plays, to the everything about it. I've always preferred the 2D fighting games, the Mortal Kombats, the Street Fighters, the Injustices of the world. I don't like the fighting games set on the 3D plane. I think it's an unnecessary addition that usually makes it actually more dull to play, except perhaps Soul Calibur, which I just find a little bit more engaging. But the fighters in this, I don't know who any of these people are, to be fair. I mean, I've played a little bit of Tekken, but none of them really interest me. They all look ridiculous and have the most banal names sometimes. I know Akuma's in this, because I know him from Street Fighter, so I was like, okay, I played some as Akuma, that's quite fun. But I spent a lot of time playing these random treasure battles, I've played a lot of time just doing the random pickup fights, and I've done the story. And, you know, everything from the visual fidelity being poor, to the control layout, which is, I guess, easier to understand, that each button is one's for the feet and one lot is for the punches. So 2 buttons for punch, 2 buttons for kick, and then a combination of button presses will pull off various special moves and things like that. You know, it's fairly simple to get a hold of in your mind. It's just not a lot of fun to play. I don't like anything about this. I mean, I just would rather play Injustice 2 at every opportunity. That is possibly the greatest fighting game ever created in my mind. Whereas Tekken 7 here it's fine. I'm sure you're going to have fun with it if you're a Tekken fan. However, if you're anything but, you're just going to be like me, confused, bewildered. You're going to see that there aren't that many modes. The multiplayer isn't that great. I actually found it difficult to find games online. Yeah, you've got single versus combat, that's fine. But, you know, there's not all those amazing levels of depth that you get from Injustice 2's extra modes and things like that. There's no challenge towers, which you'd get from the Mortal Kombat game. So I feel like everything on offer here is very much geared up to what you got in the arcades. You don't have a lot of real reason to be playing this other than just to go through the endless treasure battles to try and unlock these most ridiculous costumes and collectibles for the characters to make them look even stupider, because the character design in this game is already rubbing me up the wrong way, and it just gets worse the more crap you add to it. Let's talk about the story mode a little bit more. It's this post-apocalyptic war between 2 corporations headed up by these crazy fighting dudes, one of which takes over one corporation and decides, hey, now's the time for a new tournament, let's do that. What the hell, what is this? Why do you even pretend to have this conceit of a story or a narrative? There's no point, because it's so stupid and so flipping ridiculous that it doesn't grab you in any way. I did like one aspect of the way the story mode works, which was the cutscenes would meld almost seamlessly into a fight, which I thought was quite cool and kept you on your toes. You know, that's a nice addition. I'd like to see that in Injustice 2, because Injustice's separation between fight and cutscene is usually quite jarring and quite obvious. However, it certainly doesn't save the game in any way. I could ramble on and on about it. I don't think it's necessarily a bad game. It's just not as nearly well polished or produced or done with as much love and care as Injustice 2 was. Obviously, they're very different beasts. Obviously, they're trying to do very different things. But it was Tekken's decision to release within a couple of weeks of Injustice, which means sadly all you're going to get are comparisons from somebody like me, the casual fighting game fan, the person who isn't hardcore, that hasn't stuck with any particular fighting game series religiously for the years, who flips between them depending on what they look like and how well they're received that year. And Injustice 2 grabbed me in every way possible, and Tekken 7 just wants me to bounce off of it in just as many ways. Frankly, unless you're massively into Tekken, I can't see any reason why you would pick this up over Injustice 2. So I'm going to give Tekken sort of a score, a little bit from the benefit of the doubt, a little bit because it doesn't do that much wrong, it just doesn't do enough interesting. So I'm going to give Tekken 7 3 out of 5 stars.
BXB. It's in the game.